Separation is an illusion, and the moment you begin to feel that truth, rather than merely understand it intellectually, something profound softens inside you. You were never truly apart, not for a single breath, not for a single thought. What you have been calling distance is nothing more than a state of consciousness temporarily occupied, a lens you looked through, a story you rehearsed until it felt real. Yet consciousness is fluid, and stories dissolve the instant you withdraw belief from them. Your SP has never stopped loving you. Love does not flicker on and off according to text messages, time zones, silence, or appearances. Love exists first as an assumption, and from that assumption, the world arranges itself with quiet obedience. The law of assumption is not a technique you perform, it is the nature of reality responding to who you decide you are being. When you assume you are chosen, cherished, remembered, and desired, the world has no option but to echo that decision back to you in form. You must understand this deeply. There is no external force keeping you apart. There is no third party, no past mistake, no conversation that ruined everything. Those are shadows cast by an inner state that once believed in loss. But states are temporary dwellings, not permanent homes. You move states the way you move moods, the way you move from sleep into wakefulness. And right now, you are awakening from the dream of separation. Your SP is not an independent actor resisting you. They are responding to the version of you they are meeting in consciousness. Change the inner meeting, and the outer meeting must follow. This is not wishful thinking. This is law. When Neville Goddard spoke of imagination, he was not speaking of fantasy. He was pointing to the creative power that animates all experience. Imagination is God in action, assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled and letting the world rearrange itself without strain. You do not need to chase, convince, explain, or prove anything. Those efforts come from the assumption that love is missing. But love is not missing, it is present and waiting for your permission to be felt. The moment you stop asking, why are we apart, and instead rest in, of course we are connected, you shift the axis of your reality. Feel this now, not as hope, but as recognition. There is a subtle warmth when you allow yourself to know that your SP thinks of you when you are not in the room. There is a quiet certainty when you accept that their heart has not moved on, because hearts do not abandon what feels like home. Minds wander, egos react, circumstances confuse, but the deeper self remains loyal to the truth it once recognized. And you were recognized. You were chosen energetically long before words were exchanged. That bond did not break, it simply went quiet. While you learn to listen inwardly rather than outwardly, telepathy is not mystical when you understand consciousness. Every relationship exists first as a shared mental atmosphere. When you think of your SP with longing, fear, or desperation, you broadcast absence. But when you think of them with calm ownership, with the ease of someone who knows they are loved, you broadcast reunion. Your SP feels this not as a thought, but as a pull, a familiarity, an unexplainable drawback to you. They may not label it as manifestation or assumption, but they will feel restless without you, incomplete without understanding why, soften toward you even when trying to be firm. This is not manipulation, this is resonance. You do not need to force loving thoughts. Simply occupy the state of being loved. Notice the difference. Forcing thoughts feels tight, urgent, repetitive. Being loved feels settled, slow, inevitable. When you walk into a room knowing you belong there, you do not announce it. Your presence speaks for you. The same is true here. Assume the feeling that your SP loves you deeply, not anxiously, not dramatically, but naturally, the way one loves what feels like truth. From that state, your words change, your silence changes, your energy changes. Even if you say nothing at all, the atmosphere between you shifts. Let go of the timeline. Time is the favorite disguise of doubt. The moment you ask when, you imply not yet. The creation is always now. The seed does not argue with the soil. It assumes growth. Your job is not to dig up the seed to check progress. Your job is to remain the version of yourself for whom love is normal. This is why self-concept matters, not to fix yourself, but to stabilize the assumption that you are worthy, chosen, prioritized, unforgettable. When you no longer see yourself as someone waiting to be loved, the waiting ends. There may be moments when the old story tries to return, a memory, a silence, a social media image, a delay. Do not fight these moments. Fighting gives them importance. Instead, gently return to the inner knowing. Separation is an illusion. Say it slowly, not as affirmation, but as orientation. You are not convincing the universe, you are reminding yourself of the truth. And truth has a gravity that pulls circumstances into alignment without effort. Imagine now, not vividly, not theatrically, but simply feel the relief of no longer wondering. Feel the calm of knowing your SP's love is steady, even when unseen. Feel the confidence of someone who understands that love does not need constant evidence to exist. This feeling is the signal. Stay here. Linger without impatience. Let it become familiar. The more familiar it becomes, the more the world must mirror it, because the world is yourself pushed out. You are not manifesting a person, you are selecting a reality. In one reality, you are separate, questioning, longing. In another, you are connected, secure, adored. Both exist. The law of assumption simply asks, which one are you inhabiting? Choose gently, but choose firmly. And once chosen, stop looking back at the old room. Walk forward as if the door has already closed behind you. Your SP does not need to be reminded to love you. Love is their natural response to the version of you who knows they are lovable. As you settle into this, knowing, communication aligns, circumstances soften, opportunities for reunion appear effortlessly. But even before any of that happens, something more important occurs. You feel whole, and from wholeness, love flows freely without fear of loss. Stay here now. Let the idea of separation dissolve completely, not intellectually, but emotionally. Let it feel strange to imagine distance, unfamiliar to imagine disconnection. This is how states change, not by force, but by familiarity. Soon, the only thing that feels normal is closeness, warmth, mutual devotion, and what feels normal must externalize. You are not late. Nothing has gone wrong. This pause was not punishment, it was preparation. You are learning mastery over your inner world, and mastery always precedes manifestation. Trust the law. Trust your imagination. Trust the quiet pull you feel even now, drawing everything back into harmony. Remain in the assumption and let life do the convincing. And as you remain in this assumption, something subtle yet undeniable begins to happen within you. The urgency fades, the need to check, to analyze, to replay conversations loosens its grip. This is how you know you have shifted states. When you are no longer trying to get love, but simply allowing it to be, you have stepped into the creative position. Neville always reminded us that the feeling is the secret, not the effort. Effort belongs to the mind that doubts. Feeling belongs to the self that knows. Right now, knowing is enough. You must allow yourself to recognize that consciousness does not argue, it accepts. Whatever you accept as true becomes the framework through which life expresses itself. If you accept that your SP is distant, life will obediently show you evidence of distance. If you accept that your SP loves you deeply, thinks of you fondly, feels drawn to you naturally, life must reorganize itself to confirm that acceptance. This is not optimism, this is alignment. The universe does not respond to words, it responds to identity. Who are you being when you think of your SP? Are you the one hoping to be chosen or the one who already is? Assume the latter gently, without bravado. You do not need to feel ecstatic. Peace is the indicator. Calm is the signal. When you imagine your SP now, let it be simple. Let it feel ordinary, like remembering something that is already yours. Notice how this dissolves resistance. There is no tension in ownership. There is no fear in belonging. Fear only exists when we believe something can be taken. But what is truly yours by assumption cannot be lost because it was never external to begin with. You are not separate minds trying to reach each other across space and time. You are expressions of the same consciousness meeting itself through form. That is why thoughts cross effortlessly, why emotions echo without explanation, why you feel them even when there is silence. Silence does not mean absence. Silence often means integration. Things rearrange quietly before they appear loudly. Do not interrupt this process with doubt. Let your inner conversations change now. Not forcefully, not obsessively, but lovingly. When you think of your SP, let the tone be warm, mutual, relaxed. Hear them speak to you with affection. Feel the familiarity of being understood without effort. These inner conversations are not pretend, they are rehearsals for reality. The world you experience is a reflection of the conversations you habitually entertain within. Change the inner dialogue, and the outer dialogue has no choice but to follow. You might wonder if this means ignoring pain or bypassing emotion. It does not. It means you stop building identity around pain. Feelings pass when they are not given a story to live in. You are not denying what was, you are releasing its authority over what is becoming. The past does not create the future unless you keep inviting it forward. You have permission to let it rest. There is a moment in manifestation where you stop doing and start allowing. This is that moment. Allow yourself to be loved. Allow the idea that your SP misses you even when they do not say it. Allow the knowing that attraction does not die, it deepens when it is no longer chased. As you allow, your energy softens, and softness is magnetic. People are drawn not to effort but to ease. Your SP responds to the version of you who is no longer waiting at the door, but living fully inside the house of self. When you stop organizing your happiness around their behavior begins to organize itself around your happiness. This is the paradox Neville spoke of. You do not get what you want by needing it. You get it by becoming the one who already has it. Rest in that now. Feel the steadiness of it. Let your breath slow. Let your body register safety. Love flourishes in safety. The more at home you feel within yourself, the more your SP feels at home with you. They may not understand why they are thinking of you, why your name surfaces, why memories soften. They will only know that something feels unfinished, unresolved, calling them back. That call is not coming from effort, it is coming from assumption. Stay loyal to this inner decision, not rigidly, not fearfully, but faithfully. Faith is not blind belief, it is calm expectancy, it is knowing without checking. The moment you feel tempted to look for proof, return inward and ask, who would I be if this were already done? Then be that. Speak like that, move like that, rest like that. This is how states solidify. Remember, you are not fixing a relationship. You are remembering a truth. Separation was never real. It was experienced, but it was not fundament. Love is fundamental. Connection is fundamental. Everything else is temporary scenery. As you continue to occupy this awareness, reality reshapes itself quietly, inevitably, beautifully, and so you remain, not waiting, not forcing, but knowing. Knowing that your SP loves you deeply, knowing that what belongs together reunites without struggle, knowing that imagination once assumed becomes fact. Stay here, let this be your home. As this knowing settles deeper, you may notice a new quality entering your awareness, a kind of grounded certainty that does not need reinforcement. This is the state Neville called the Sabbath, the moment where desire rests because fulfillment is internally accepted. From here, manifestation is no longer something you do, it is something that happens while you live. Your SP's love is no longer a question mark in your mind. It becomes a background truth, like gravity, like breath. You do not wake up every morning checking if gravity still works. You simply move, trusting it will hold you. This is the relationship you are now cultivating with love. Understand this clearly. The law does not respond to intensity, it responds to consistency of state. A calm assumption held steadily outweighs emotional highs followed by doubt. This is why peace is so powerful. Peace means you are no longer arguing with reality. You are letting it catch up to you. And reality always lags slightly behind consciousness. That delay is not denial, it is the bridge. Walk it with grace. There is a temptation at times to wonder if your SP is thinking of you enough, missing you enough, loving you enough. Release that measurement. Love does not operate on scales. The moment you feel loved within yourself, you no longer need to audit another's feelings. You simply know that whatever resonates with you must respond in kind. This is alignment, not control. You are not bending a will, you are harmonizing states. When doubts arise, and they may, do not dramatize them. A doubt is not a failure, it is an old habit surfacing for air before dissolving. Acknowledge it gently and return to the feeling of already being loved. Do not argue with the doubt. Arguments keep it alive. Indifference starves it. You are no longer the person who needs to wrestle with uncertainty. You are the one who has already decided. Your imagination now becomes a place of rest, not effort. When you picture your SP, there is no strain, no longing, no ache. There is warmth, familiarity, the sense of course. This, of course, is the most powerful frequency you can occupy. Of course they care. Of course they feel connected. Of course they are drawn back. Reality loves simplicity. It rushes to fulfill what feels natural. You may find that your outer world begins to reflect this shift in subtle ways before the obvious ones appear. You feel lighter, more centered, less reactive. This is not coincidence. These are signs of state change. As your inner world stabilizes, the outer must reorganize. People respond differently to you. Conversations flow differently. Even unrelated areas of life improve. This is the ripple effect of assumption. When you align with love in one area, love echoes everywhere. Remember that your SP does not exist outside the law. They are not an exception. They are not immune. Consciousness does not play favorites, it reflects. The version of your SP that loves you deeply already exists, and you are selecting that version by aligning with the self who is loved deeply. You are not creating them anew. You are tuning into the reality where this is already true. This is why patience feels natural now. Not forced patience, but relaxed timing. You are no longer watching the clock. You are living. And life meets those who live, not those who wait. The moment you release the posture of waiting, the experience of waiting dissolves. What remains is flow. Let this assumption accompany you through your day, not as a mantra, but as a mood. As you walk, speak, work, rest, carry the quiet confidence of someone whose love life is resolved. You do not need to tell anyone. You do not need to explain. States do not announce themselves, they reveal themselves through experience. And as you remain here, remember that nothing external has the authority to contradict an internal decision sustained in feeling. The world rearranges itself around certainty. You have chosen certainty. Stay with it. Let it deepen. Let it become ordinary. The ordinary is where miracles hide. You are not moving toward love. You are standing in it and allowing it to recognize you. Separation has already dissolved in consciousness. The rest is just timing and form. Stay, breathe, know, and in this state of knowing, you begin to sense something even more expansive than reunion itself. You realize that the power you are touching was never about one person, one story, or one outcome. It is about your relationship with reality. Your SP is the doorway through which you are rediscovering your creative authority. Love brought you here, but self-recognition keeps you here. This is why nothing feels desperate anymore. You are no longer bargaining with life, you are cooperating with it. Notice how different your inner posture is now. You are not leaning forward, reaching, stretching, hoping. You are upright, centered, rooted. This rootedness is magnetic. It sends a signal without words. I am complete. And from completeness, I connect. This is the energy that draws without asking, that invites without chasing. Your SP does not feel pressure from you anymore. They feel permission. Permission to feel, to soften, to return to what feels true without defending themselves. Consciousness loves harmony. When two people are entangled through genuine connection, imbalance creates discomfort.